In the Caribbean, this is the time of year that we pay attention to the African coast, the Atlantic Ocean, and the Caribbean Sea, looking for any type of heightened weather activity. This can range from a trough or tropical wave all the way up to a full-blown Category 5 hurricane. And how do you track a hurricane? Today, our first guest is going to give us some understanding about storms in general, as well as show us how we can track them and when they are coming our way. We welcome Denel Dixon, a Met officer who is a trained meteorologist and a forecaster. Good morning, Denel. Welcome to Good Morning, SKN.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
You are certainly welcome. We'll dive right into it. How does a storm have its beginnings?
A storm derives its energy from the warm ocean, the latent heat provided by the ocean. Usually, it starts off as a cluster of thunderstorms, but as things get better developed and certain conditions are met, we start to see the storm blowing up and posing a threat to the islands.
All right, so one of the unusual things that we notice about storms is that sometimes they even start right here in the Caribbean Sea. That's more normal now than it was before, for instance, because I remember, I think,
it's more normal than we think. We normally associate hurricanes with the waves that come off of the African coast, but it's very possible for them to develop from just a mere thunderstorm. So once the conditions are right, you would see the development.
All right, let me ask you this another way then. When it came to Hurricane Lenny, the way that it started basically, I think it was over in Jamaica, Belize, potentially, possibly, and it came this way. That's unusual, isn't it?
Yeah, they don't normally follow that path. That way, they used to associate Lenny as the opposite.
Yes, I know. Indeed.
So being hot is not necessarily good?
Oh, no, not as far as I know, but of course, Denel can guide us with that. Okay,
so Denel, can you guide us through the various categories of storms?
Okay, the different categories, we normally use the Saffir-Simpson scale, hurricane scale, which is the categories are dependent on the strength of the wind.
Okay.
For the first stage is normally the tropical depression, which is 0 to 38 miles per hour. Then you have a tropical storm, which is 39 miles per hour to 73 miles per hour. Then we move into the hurricane, category 1, which is 74 miles per hour to 95 miles per hour. Category 2, 96 miles per hour to 110 miles per hour. From they reach category 3, they are considered major hurricanes, which is from 111 miles per hour to 130 miles per hour. Category 4, 131 to 155, and category 5, hopefully we don't see any of those, is greater than 156 miles per hour.
All right, and that is the scale that you're using. We recently talked with Abdia Samuel, who told us that there have been some considerations of perhaps splitting that category 5, or at least giving us 6 categories instead, because of the major storms that we continue.
Yeah, based on, well, in recent times, they have seen hurricanes getting as close as 200 miles per hour, so they were thinking about adding a 6th category, but hopefully we don't need that.
No, we don't need a 6th. We don't even need the 5 that we have.
I was about to say, but we're going to get them anyway. So what can you tell us about the effects that could be associated with each of the different categories that you mentioned, and perhaps what we can do to prepare?
Well, in terms of a category 1, we up to a category 3, we should be able to handle well, but when we start seeing category 4 and category 5, well, it's also dependent on the type of structures we have here in St. Kitts. And I find in St. Kitts we have relatively good homes. Some of the other Caribbean islands, they tend to have a lot of board structures still.
Yes.
So in their case, if they were to see probably a category 2, it could cause intense damage, unlike if it was to come here and come across the decent structures we have here.
All right, so our infrastructure seems to be on point for the most part, so at least we're grateful for that.
So how early should one start preparing for hurricanes?
From the onset of the hurricane season, you shouldn't wait until a storm is threatening. You should have some kind of plan in place. So in the event that a hurricane is threatening, you don't have to be in the hustle and bustle with everyone. You just cool, relax, you're just waiting for it to come and pass, and hopefully no significant damages are done to your property or your family.
We've managed to survive hurricanes over the past few years. Do you have any indication as to why, other than the act of God? Not that I'm asking them to come. So
there's just this weird thing where a lot of the times the hurricanes are just there. They are projected to come our way, and just last minute they just take a magical turn south or just north and just leave sweet sugar city.
I would just say we've been very lucky in the past because I think we're on the inner end of the archipelago anyway. We're on the left side, Antigua, Barbuda, not so privileged, and so when the storms go that way and they're projected to come this way, generally they turn and then they hit places like the BVI or the USVI, and we saw the devastating effects that they had. I do remember, and every time I say it, I still get a little, let's say it, terrified.
And one of the islands that is very unfortunate is normally Dominica. Yes. Dominica, to get a lot of the tropical storms, the depressions, and then in recent times, Maria would have done some work on it.
Why though? Why do you think? Because they're in the middle of it?
Basically, I guess the storms would just, instead of coming our way, they would just continue along their path. And unfortunately, Dominica is right there.
And sometimes the weather conditions as well, I imagine, definitely suppress them, so they keep them further south of the river.
Yeah, if there is a strong Atlantic high pressure, it keeps the system further south.
Nice. So we need to keep up our Atlantic pressure.
I love the way you say that, like we can turn the thermostat. We need to keep up our Atlantic
I'm just saying.
Lesson 101, right? 101.
Geography class 101. Okay, to track storms, we normally use geographical coordinates.
Okay.
In terms of getting the coordinates, you need two pairs of coordinates. Usually, we use the coordinates for the storm, which we will use the eye of the storm, and then the other coordinate would be the country in relation to what you're trying to find, how far it is out. So here on this graph, I made a little grid, grid graph to show the latitude and longitude. The latitude runs north to south, longitude east to west, or basically side to side.
Okay.
St. Kitts is located at 17.2 north and 62.7 west. In this scenario, I placed the tropical cyclone at 10 degrees north and 25 west. If we normally use the National Hurricane Latitude Longitude Calculator to calculate the distance. When you compute the distance, you would get about 4,000 kilometers, which will tell you the storm is 4,000 and change kilometers away from St. Kitts.
Okay.
You want to give it a try?
Yeah, for sure. Can I use the marker though?
Sure.
Step right on. Go.
Okay, look for latitude 20.
20.
Remember, latitude runs north to south.
So 20. So do I just put a dot at 20?
Wait, and then you have to wait for go to 30 longitude.
Okay.
No. 20 and 30.
So it's
like
right there,
graph.
right?
It's a pair,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
right
I'm
there.
supposed to put the 20 on the line of the 20?
No, you look for the 20 line and the
across.
30.
So
remember, it's geographical coordinates is both longitude and latitude.
Yeah, but
so
is this where I have the dot? Is it correct?
This is correct. 20 north, 30 west.
Okay.
So it's one dot in that particular area.
Yeah.
It's the intersection, right?
So then, if you want to find the distance of the storm from St. Kitts, you would use St. Kitts' coordinates along with the 20 north and 30 west,
Okay.
and that will give you the distance it is away from St. Kitts.
Okay.
You want to try?
I've been plotting my whole life.
Sound like a maths guy.
I am.
Okay.
Right.
We'll do one kind of unrealistic because the storms normally start out that far and come to us.
Okay.
Go for 50 north
Uh-huh.
and 40 west.
Okay, 50 north and 40 west. So 10, 40, 40, 40. There we
Look
go.
for the 40 down here.
That's it.
Yeah.
I'm right here.
And you put your plot. And then you would use this coordinate to get the location in reference to St. Kitts.
All right, so can I just do this? This is a tropical cyclone, Jamie. Which
Yeah,
we'll never
sure.
have. Which we'll never have, by the way. Just putting it
Next year there's going to be something named after Jamie.
At all. I don't
He
wish
preempted
at
it.
all.
Okay, so how do we find out how far it is from St. Kitts now? As you said, we just plotted the unrealistic.
The same process. You use the coordinates for St. Kitts and you plug in the coordinates for the tropical storm Jamie.
Oh, okay. Okay.
All right, so this is really math that has been abstracted into computer software and computer programming and that sort of thing. You can do the calculations very easily.
And now there are programs where you just You just take the mouse, you draw a line, gives you the reading right off the bat.
Look at that.
And then in those cases, when you know how fast it's traveling or how it's projected to change speed, you can predict when it's going to land.
Yes, basically, once the motion remains consistent. Because remember, the motion often changes.
All right, yes.
But Denel, aren't you concerned that once we learn this, that we won't need somebody like you?
It's all right, it's all right. I mean...
We need you still, but...
Knowledge is power, knowledge is power.
Okay, okay, no problem.
It's okay if the public can help themselves in certain situations.
Okay.
I will still need people like you because you're the guys who put this all together.
Yes, exactly.
And human error being what it is, we need
Exactly.
trained professionals to let us know what's going on, especially. All right, so the question that I had really is also in terms of this. You're monitoring the hurricane, you're looking at the eye of it, and you're able to get projections as to the change of intensity, so that's how you're able to say, well, when it lands, it's going to be likely 2 or 3 or whatever it is.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Through the use of models. They do a lot of model runs using supercomputers to try and predict the path and the changes in intensity.
Okay. So then now what else does your job entail at the Met Office?
Well, we provide climatological information for persons who are doing certain projects. Persons in agriculture, they want some certain rainfall values, I guess, trying to set up the irrigation systems and so on. We do hourly observations to provide information to the ATC officers upstairs, who then pass the information on to the pilots, because the pilots use the weather information to assist with their aviation. They fly in and
Okay.
Yeah, it's a really important job. Question, so you still think that you as a former flight attendant wouldn't need somebody like Denel?
Well, in the air I do need him, but you see, now he's teaching me this, maybe I won't. I still need you, don't worry.
I wasn't.
I know you were. All right, so thank you so much for stopping by and sharing this vital information with us. Before we leave, though, before we end the segment, is there anything that you want to tell the public by way of the importance of preparing for tropical storms? If there is, you can look right into that camera.
Once again, we are onto another hurricane season. This season is expected to be above average, but that doesn't mean we would be directly impacted by a hurricane. However, you should still prepare as if, prepare for in the event a hurricane is coming. You don't have to be in a rush trying to secure things.